I'm going to just jump right into a couple of slides here. How many of you have ever asked yourself, why aren't more people interested in my products or services? Why aren't they buying from me? How come I just can't generate all these leads? My stuff is so good. Why aren't they getting it? And how come my customers aren't telling their friends? How come I'm not getting all of these referrals passed on? Well, in today's presentation, I'd like to do my best to answer these questions with illustrations and examples of how we do it here at Business Design Corporation. For those of you on the call that don't know who I am, my name is Michael Mills. I'm one of the founders of Business Design Corporation and the TouchStone business system. Our company has been a group of master certified eMyth consultants for 17 years. Many of you have read Michael Gerber or heard of him and his very well published books, the eMyth series of books. Well, we delivered Michael's eMyth mastery program to many hundreds of businesses. But what we found was that while we were delivering good business theory, very few of our mastery clients were actually getting the work done. They failed to get their processes written and their job descriptions documented, which in our mind was the very point of the program. So we went about working on a way to make eMyth theory practical, to create a simpler way for systemizing a business. In essence, a way to put eMyth theory into practice. And we've helped systemize hundreds and hundreds of businesses. And to assist with the process, we developed a web-based application called the TouchStone Business System, which really makes it easy to consistently document operating processes and implement them in the business. So today I'm speaking on the topic of sales and marketing, specifically generating leads, nurturing them, and converting them into sales. Because if you can get this formula right, you've pretty much found the goose that lays the golden egg. For those of you on the call who are existing TouchStone subscribers, many of the procedures that I'm going to be discussing today are in the General System Library, and I'll show you how to access those tools. For those of you who are not TouchStone subscribers, not to worry, I've pushed all of these documented processes out to Word documents and PDF files, so you can get them if you like. And should you be interested, because you're here today, you'll have a chance to take TouchStone for a 30-day free trial. And then you can access all of our tools, you can innovate them, you can download them all to your computer, and if you wanted, you could literally cancel your subscription after the 30-day trial. And I say that tongue-in-cheek because you can actually do that if you choose. You can access all of our tools and you can quit, but no one's actually ever really done that because they really find that the TouchStone application is quite useful once they get started. Our company is all about process and process implementation, and for that we use TouchStone. But while TouchStone is your knowledge base, a tool that makes it easy to create and find your standard operating procedures and keep them current, it isn't the entire solution. I'm going to showcase an all-in-one sales and marketing tool that we use here at Business Design Corporation called Infusionsoft. I've asked Jeremy Mayer to join us today. Jeremy is a partner manager at Infusionsoft, and many of you may be interested in hearing more about the Infusionsoft application. So I've got everybody on mute right now, including you, Jeremy, but I will try to find you amongst all the attendees when we get to the end of the presentation, and I will open it up for a Q&A. But if anybody has questions about the Infusionsoft application at the end of the presentation, I'll open up Jeremy's microphone, and he's kind enough to make himself available to answer questions that you may have about the Infusionsoft application. If you have questions as we're going through this process, please put them in the chat box or the question box of the GoToWebinar control panel. They will be saved there, and then I will be able to answer them as we continue. Okay. A quick shout out to Infusionsoft. I love this tool. When we first started, we used an application called ACT, and that was used to manage all of our contacts and conversations. And then we moved over to Goldmine. We had some consultants who were outside of the office, and it gave them access to our database inside and gave us a lot of control. And then when the cloud came around, we went to Salesforce, and we were Salesforce users for probably 5-7 years. Salesforce is an excellent CRM application, but we needed more marketing automation. And we felt that Salesforce was really built for businesses that were bigger than ours. You know, they're basically built for Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 businesses. It was fairly expensive, and every time I wanted to add functionality, it required that I had to purchase another subscription for some add-on. So it just got too busy, too complex, and too expensive. We found Infusionsoft, and we migrated all of our Salesforce content to Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is really designed for small businesses, businesses that employ, you know, less than 50 to 100 employees. We found that Infusionsoft gave us all of the marketing and automation tools that a business of our size could use at a very inexpensive monthly fee. And they've got amazing support with intelligent English-speaking technicians. And with Salesforce, we were calling Puerto Rico, and most of the technicians I spoke with, they knew less about the product than I did. I emailed everyone on the call today a video on Lifecycle Marketing. It was a 10-minute presentation. The first 5 minutes discussed the typical customer life cycle, and the last 5 minutes on the perfect customer life cycle. I hope everyone had a chance to watch that video. It is excellent. Scott Martineau, who's one of the founders of Infusionsoft, gives this amazing presentation of how much opportunity is lost out there by most companies because they do not follow a process that I'm going to be teaching you today, this life cycle marketing process. If anyone needs me to resend them that link, go ahead and type a message to me in the chat box. It saves your text so I can refer to it later on, and I can resend that link to you after today's presentation. Lifecycle marketing, a whole concept developed by the Infusionsoft team, can be applied to any small business regardless of industry or business model. There are 3 phases: attract, sell, and wow. And attract essentially encompasses generating and nurturing leads. Sell encompasses converting leads into long-term loyal customers. Wow encompasses delivering an experience beyond what they expected, so they will refer your services and buy more services from you. Attract, sell, wow. We're gonna touch on these briefly, and then I'm gonna dive deeper. Now, in each one of these phases, there are 3 stages. So in the attract phase, the 3 stages are target, attract interest, and collect leads. And I'm not going to go into depth in all of the stages in each phase because I could do an hour on each one of these 9 stages. I also want to say that there are lots of sample processes that we've put in the TouchStone process library that go into these in detail, processes that you can download into your TouchStone account and modify to work for your specific need. I also want to recommend hire a consultant or a coach who specializes in sales and marketing processes. We have some on the call with us today, and if you're looking for a specialist to help you, feel free, again, put a message in the GoToWebinar chat box, and I'll follow up with you with some suggestions. Okay, so a target, attract, and collect. We're going to start with target. This is all about understanding who your ideal client is, understanding your target market. When I'm working with a client and I ask them, who do they sell to? And I'm sure some of the consultants out there on the call today are going to get a chuckle. I can see them smiling right now. When I ask them, who do they sell to? Prospects say, I sell to everyone. And they're proud of that. Well, we all think that everyone wants our products, so we try to sell to everyone. But that mindset is expensive. It costs you a ton of money and really doesn't provide you a good return on your investment. It's just too expensive to market to everybody. Marketing messages don't resonate with everyone. Trying to be everything to everyone doesn't work. So bottom line, don't try to sell to everyone. What you want to do is you want to narrow down your focus and target your customers. If you're targeting customers, you can become more focused on marketing messages that mean something to that demographic. You can be more effective in finding your customers. You can actually design products and services to meet the needs of your target market. And you can increase customer satisfaction and generate more referrals because you're meeting their needs specifically. So once you understand your target market, you need to attract interest. In other words, you got to get noticed. We call this message and channel. Message and channel. Having the right message that attracts your desired prospect and finding the right channel in which to put that message. So a channel might be LinkedIn, for example, or some pay-per-click advertising on AdWords. It might be direct mail, which seems to be gathering steam for some reason. I guess it's because email is so prolific these days. A channel might be radio and TV advertising. It could be billboards. It could be networking groups like your Chamber of Commerce. Think about where your target market is most likely to come in contact with your message and be receptive to your messaging. Think about location, both online and in person. Are your prospects, are they in a particular social media platform? Do they attend local business events? Are they members of a local community? When you identify where they're likely to find you, start focusing your efforts there. Be where your customers are and start engaging them in authentic, helpful, and a very personable way. Once you know your target market and you're able to attract their interest, you need a way to collect leads. Now, I'm going to dive a little deeper here into each of these stages. Let's talk about targeting. This is what a target definition might look like. This is part of our target. Actually, we have two target markets, but one of them, this is our business to business. Basically, one of our target markets are entrepreneurs who are looking for a better way to organize and implement their operating procedures. So this is an example of a sample target market. You'll notice on the left, we've got criteria that we're looking for, and on the right, we're describing why. So typically, our target market are companies that have usually between 10 and 100 employees. When we talk about target market, it doesn't mean that someone with less than 10 employees wouldn't be interested in our services and products. It just means that ideally, this is what we found. Why? Because our customers need to be large enough to need our service. If it's a one-person law firm, they're not going anywhere. They probably don't need documented processes. So our customers need to be large enough to need our service, and they need to be large enough to be able to afford it without it being a burden. Industries, well, we work with all types of industries. We mostly service-based, contractors like construction, electrician, plumbers, lawyers, real estate companies, insurance companies, financial services companies, as well as industries that are governed by compliance with either OSHA or ISO. An organizational model, they have at least one manager, and the manager's responsibility is to make sure that the operating procedures are developed and implemented. Financial status, these are typically tend to be growing, profitable businesses. They typically have annual revenues over $1 million, less than 50 million. If the business is financially stressed, if they're not profitable, they can't afford the time or the money to implement this tool, our tools. So the business is also, it's usually more than about 7 years old. It's usually owned by a middle-aged executive. The business needs to be established and growing based on some consistency of effort. Because if the business is too young, they usually don't know what is working. And if the owner is too young, if they're in their early 20s, you know, I wrote in here early 30s, but I would say early 20s, they feel invincible. Do you remember what it was like when you first started your business? You probably didn't have a family at that point. You were pouring your heart and soul into the company, and you just thought, wow, all I have to do is work really hard, and you never realized that you're totally out of balance. On the other side of the spectrum, if the owner is too old, if they're in their late 60s, early 70s, again, sometimes we've got really vibrant elderly entrepreneurs. I'm not saying that it never happens, but sometimes it's just hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And a lot of times if you're in your mid-70s, you just don't have the energy to do this work. A couple of other ideas, they get the value of implementing standard operating procedures and job descriptions. We don't need to educate them entirely about this. I will talk about education as we go through the lifecycle marketing, but usually what we see is that they've tried to implement procedures in the past and they've been unsuccessful. And their current system, they usually have some job descriptions in place. They usually have an org chart. Sometimes they have documented procedures. So this is a sample customer profile. Now, we actually have two target markets. The other one are consultants who are interested in referring or using TouchStone with their clients. And we have a whole nother profile for those clients. Now, if you're interested, there's a tool in TouchStone in the library where you can go into the library. If you click on your sales and marketing, or it may be called getting the business in your application, and you come up to the add from process library and select general processes, you can download these processes, attracting targets and defining your target market. They'll go into your TouchStone account, and then you can come in here and actually follow our processes. We have a work plan for explaining what market segmentation is. We have a work plan for actually going through and describing your ideal prospect. We have forms and questions that you can fill in. You can just answer these questions, and then you can fill in a form. You'll notice here's my sample that I was just showing you. This is exactly what I was just showing you. So all of this content is available to you. And then if you go to the other one, this is also a great one. There's a fantastic video right here that Scott Martineau does on the topic. There's, again, a slightly different worksheet for brainstorming your ideas. Everything is in this application, and you can just go in and get it and answer the questions and complete your own target marketing profile. That's target market. The next stage in this first phase is attracting. What you do to attract interest can vary. There are tons of things that you can do. As I said earlier, even direct mail seems to be coming back into vogue. Inbound marketing. Boy, this is one of the hottest topics that you'll be reading about, especially blogging. I recently read a story about Basecamp, which is a very popular project management application. They built their entire business on writing blog articles and optimizing them on the web. So you'll notice there are lots of different channels. There might be social media channels. These are the top social media advertising channels that are out there right now. Find out where your clients are. Are they on LinkedIn? We have a lot of people on LinkedIn, so this is a great place for us to mine. Inbound marketing, blogging, creating landing pages and offers, writing white papers, doing webinars like today, getting an infographic done, optimizing and using your thank you pages. But so these are sort of internet-based, but there's also newspapers, magazines, trade journals, the yellow pages, for crying out loud. You might have trade shows where you're putting out brochures and flyers. You might have radio and TV ads. Lots of different opportunities here for you to find the right channel. But you don't do all of them. You pick a couple. The couple where your target market is searching for solutions to their problems. You find out where they are, and then you deliver your message there. But whatever you do, the key is to offer up something that is really helpful and valuable. If you offer something that is helpful and valuable, content that your target market can actually use, you will begin to develop yourself as the expert in the field in which they're interested. And people will start trading their name and email address to get your content. Trading their name and email address to get your content. This is actually a really critical concept. As you begin to break down the selling process, you'll start to see that this, in fact, is the first conversion in your selling process. No money is changing hands, but you've captured something that's incredibly valuable, and you've offered something valuable to get that. Another term we often call this content are lead magnets. Lead magnets. So here's what we do. I just want to stress again that you don't need a lot of processes or channels. Some people have one or two. We have an ebook that we wrote on how to systemize a business. We have this offer on our website, and we create pay-per-click ads on Facebook and LinkedIn. We're not currently running these ads on AdWords or Bing because we just found that the leads that we were generating from AdWords and Bing were below our central demographic model. They were just not as qualified as the leads we were able to get on LinkedIn and Facebook. We're still working on this because I can't believe that AdWords is not the right place to be, but we just found this experience that they were below our ideal client model. We also do webinars that are very much content-driven, like this one, and we will showcase our TouchStone application in these webinars, and then we'll offer a free trial after the event. So these webinars are intentionally not salesy. You will not see me demoing TouchStone. You will not see me demoing Infusionsoft. That said, we're trying to whet the appetite of those people on the call to get them interested. But most importantly, what we've done is we've captured a lead. So now you begin to build a list of contacts that you can follow up with. And so we use Infusionsoft for this purpose. This is where a sales and marketing application comes in handy. You need some way to gather and organize and segment your leads. All of these contacts that you are generating using your lead magnets. In this case, it's very powerful. The lead is sourced depending on which lead magnet generated the lead. And by that I mean the lead source, which is a field in our contact record, is automatically set by the Infusionsoft application, so I can determine how many of my leads are coming per month. The date the lead was created is also automatically created. So every month I can get a list of how many leads did I generate from each source. And this helps me with how much it's costing me to generate a lead, because some of these sources are paid, like LinkedIn and Facebook, and obviously some are not. Some are organic, like our website. You'll also notice as we look here that I segment my leads. I've got business owners and I've got consultants. Business owners who are looking to systemize and consultants who want to use our tool or distribute our tool. And if the new prospect subscribes to TouchStone or registers for a free trial, everything stops. You'll see down here in the bottom right corner, I can cancel it, or there's a shopping cart, so everything stops. Behind these, I think it might be in the next slide. Yeah, behind these different sequences, and again, I'm not going to go into a lot of TouchStone, it's into a lot of Infusionsoft, but behind, this is what we call a sequence, and behind these sequence are a series of actions that I can have the application perform. So it automatically creates a task for me to follow up. It waits a couple of days, and then it automatically sends out an email requesting a brief call. And then it sends out another, 2 minutes later, it sends out another text message that says, oops, I meant to send you this link. And if I was in Infusionsoft, I could actually click on this and you could see the email. But this is a pretty powerful step here, because it makes it feel like to the contact that I'm emailing that I'm actually doing this, but it's all automatic. It's all done automatically, and I have a sequence of emails that go out to business owners and a completely different sequence that goes out to consultants. And if someone doesn't choose consultant or business owner, I have a whole nother sequence that goes out to them, because I want to somehow bring them into the fold. And then you'll notice that if nobody makes a buying decision or sets up a demo or tells me to stop sending them emails, they go into a sort of a longer term nurture. And if I could click on this, if I was in Infusionsoft, you'd see probably a year-long campaign where I'm following up with them with really good content. So there's a ton happening here to gather and organize and automate my lead follow-up. We now have about 11,000 contacts in our database, and they're all segmented into lists, so I can communicate with them and offer information that they will find valuable and interesting. In fact, we further segment our leads depending on their interests. So there's the primary segment, business owner and consultant, up at the top. And then we have a secondary segment which puts them into topics they're interested in, topics like strategic planning, management, job descriptions, organizational structure, finance, sales and marketing. Then all of our follow-up messages and content is designed to stay within the boundaries of what that contact is interested in. So it's a very, very powerful way of connecting with your leads. So the next phase, the second phase of lifecycle marketing, is selling. This is a critical question. If you can take one thing away from today, this is one key thing to take away from today. Where does the process of attraction end and the process of selling begin? This is an important concept to consider. If you can start breaking down your selling process into the three phases of lifecycle marketing, it just makes it so much easier to start tracking and monitoring and evaluating your processes. The reason it's such an important concept to answer this question is that it makes it extremely easy to quantify your KPIs, your key performance indicators, if you can break up your selling processes with clear delineations. In our company, for example, attraction, or what we call lead generation, same diff, attraction ends when the contact's information is added to Infusionsoft. It is very clear to us what expenses are part of lead generation, and therefore how much it costs us to generate a lead. And it is therefore clear to us what expenses are incurred to nurture and convert a lead into a customer, and therefore how much it costs for us to convert a lead into a sale. Very, very powerful to break these down into delineated sections. So again, if you had a chance to watch that video I sent out yesterday on Lifecycle Marketing, you had a chance to see how often salespeople leave opportunities on the table. Typically, salespeople make 1 or 2 attempts to follow up with leads, and then they move on. If the sale doesn't convert, they just move on. But the sales process is so much more complex than that. Studies show, and I think this study is rather generous, that only about 3% of those people you are communicating with are actually ready to purchase right now. That's 3 of 100, and I'm thinking that's very generous. Another 6 or 7%, that second level from the top, they're probably open to the idea. They may have some dissatisfaction with their current item or their current service provider, or maybe they're just not opposed to change, but they're not quite ready to pull the trigger. In other words, they're going to tell you they need to think about it, or they need to speak to their wife or partner. You've all heard this. They're essentially telling you they're not going to make a decision today. And if you push them, there's a very good chance you're going to lose them. So the rest, 90%, fall into 3 categories. 30% are not thinking about your item or service, at least not right now. 30% think they are not interested. So at first pass, they're not neutral like the first third. They're going to tell you that they don't think they're interested right now. And the final 30% are probably, they're just peachy keen happy with what they have, or they simply don't know they need what you're offering. So we'll be talking about education in a bit. But the attitude is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And they're going to tell you that they're definitely not interested. And so salespeople give up. So 90%, actually 97% of these contacts need to be sold. And you can do that with a process that eases them through the sales funnel. When you present your product or service to a qualified lead, there are usually 3 possible outcomes. They buy right now. So they give you a credit card, or they put a pen to a contract. This is that 3%, what we often call the low-hanging fruit. The second outcome is they tell you they need to think about it. So these people are usually the ones who are open to buying. It's that next 7%, 6 or 7%. And if you give the right follow-up, they just might make a decision to go ahead. In our experience, and again, this adjusts for your sales cycle or the type of products or services that you deliver, but in our experience, we feel we have about 2 weeks to convince this segment to move ahead with a purchase. If they haven't purchased after 2 weeks, if you know, they don't respond to our content that we've sent to them, it's basically a no sale. But no sale doesn't mean they're never going to buy. It just means that the opportunity in this 2-week period is to give them valuable content that convinces them that it's in their best interest to go forward. And as you know, I'm the expert and we've created this relationship, so hopefully they go forward with me. But if they don't, we move them into this third category, which is a long-term nurture. Now, by the way, when I mentioned 7 touches earlier, some sales and marketing consultants will tell you that it takes 7 or more touches to bring someone to a buying decision. This doesn't mean that you bug them with 7 follow-up phone calls asking them if they're ready to get started. You want to mix it up, and I have a slide on that in a moment. Now, again, these are generalizations or rules of thumb. Obviously, depending on your product or service and many other factors, the equation may be different, but it's going to be something like this, and you need to figure this out. There are 3 unique stages of selling: educate, offer, close. And the timing of each of these stages will depend on the type of contact you're dealing with. If it's someone who may buy soon, so that thinking about it, they're in the thinking about it stage, we believe you have a window of about 2 weeks to persuade them to pull the trigger. And if it's a no sale for now, then you want to have a long-term nurture campaign that occasionally, maybe once a month or 6 times annually, follows up with them and sends them something that they're interested in. And every now and then you'll provide them with some special offer to see if you can get them to pull the trigger. And these follow-ups, they can be email. This is what I said a moment ago. You don't just call them 7 times and say, hey, Joe, are you ready to get started? Follow-ups can be email, they can be direct mail, they can be telephone calls. They need to be whatever works, and you need to test these things to see what works. Okay, so now that you have leads and you know what they're interested in, you need to begin a process of educating them. Consumers will only pay attention to you when they're motivated to do so. And the best way to gain their attention is through interaction and education. But you need to know what their interests are. Obviously, you need to understand your target market before you can begin to educate them. As you build out your content, you want to consider how your messages serve your target market's basic psychological and self-fulfillment needs. What the heck do they wake up worrying about? You want to solve that problem and then build foundational content either on your website or in a blog or through social networks or any other channels that you're using to meet these needs. You want to answer the problem. What are they worrying about? Building this trust, you will build trust as you go through this process. It's essential. It takes time. Your contacts will receive more of what you have to say if you give them what they want to know. Your content must be helpful. It has to be useful. You want to create an experience that makes your prospect smarter, basically. You want your content it sort of looks out for their interests. It can be easily accessed. It can be shared socially. And ultimately, it makes you out to be the expert, someone they respect. In this process, you're not pitching. You're being helpful. And if you're being helpful, the sale will come and the money will come. I asked the question, what do they care about? What's worrying them? What do they wake up in the morning stressed about? And what do you want them to do? In our company, our primary goal, if the contact hasn't purchased directly from the website, is to move them into a demo of our software. We have a series of what we call lead conversion processes. This is this education process. We have an ebook, How to Systemize Your Business, and then we work to schedule them into an initial conversation so that we can qualify them, because we don't want to waste our time on a prospect that's just kicking tires or is never really going to buy our software in the first part. But, you know, that might sound crass, but, you know, we've got to be efficient in our success. So we want to qualify them, but we also want to begin to educate them a little bit about why they need a tool like the TouchStone Business System. We have a few questions. I ask them, do they have job descriptions? Usually they say, oh yeah. And then I'll say, do you have job descriptions for every position in your company? And they'll say, no. And then I'll say, well, are they current? And they'll say, well, no, I don't think so. And then I'll say, how do you use them? And they look at me like, well, we use them to hire. And then I'll tell them, well, what if you could actually use a job description to not only hire someone, but to train them, manage them, and evaluate them in such a way that the job description was this dynamic, current tool. And all of a sudden, light bulbs start snapping in their head. I'll ask them if they have an org chart, and they'll say, oh, yeah. And I'll say, is it current? Can you send it to me? And they'll go, well, I don't really know where it is, and I have to probably get it updated because we've hired a couple of people since then. I'll ask them, how did they use it? And they look at me with this flummoxed expression like, well, what do you mean, how do we use it? And then I explain to them how an org chart could be used to strategically grow your business or to manage frustration. And all of a sudden, again, light bulbs start coming off. I ask them, do they have any processes written? Could they send us one? And we'll demonstrate it. We'll convert it into a TouchStone process tool, and we'll demonstrate what it could be like using the TouchStone software. So our goal is to move them to this one-on-one demo. But if they don't get a demo, we continue with email campaigns using videos. Videos are very hot. telephone follow-up, we have targeted webinars, we have ongoing blogging, we have ongoing newsletters and articles, we record presentations and put them up on our website and email them out. We just continue this process of educating through this lead conversion until they finally buy. It's all about staying top of mind. When that no sale is ready to buy for whatever reason, you want them to be thinking about you. So eventually, as your leads are more and more educated, you get to this point where it's time to offer, or it's okay, let's do a demo, Mike, let's see what's going on. The process of determining when to provide an offer, it's specific to your business and it happens at different times. So for example, I spoke a moment ago about how after a demo, some people they just don't buy. They sit in the wings and they don't do anything, and they go into this long-term nurture sequence. Every now and then we send out a little email to these people and say, do you want to get it now? We'll give you this deal if you go now. Things like that. So to determine when to provide an offer, you have to understand your target customer's buying process, or you might call it the sales cycle. One good way of doing this is to create a documented process and follow the process so that you can be sure that your team is doing things consistently. And then you observe, monitor, and track the actions and patterns. And when in the past, for example, have they been most responsive to an offer? And then you start using this information to match your sales process to your client's buying process. Then you can determine the optimal offer timing and then implement, test, and evaluate it and adjust it to see if it's actually working. This is a sample of a campaign. Something I probably haven't mentioned is that what you're looking at when I'm showing you these graphics, these are actual automated processes that I took photos of them from my Infusionsoft application. At our company, the first goal once a prospect is qualified is to get them into a demo. But when someone schedules their own demo from one of our automated emails or from our website, if one of our salespeople actually schedules them into a demo, we have an automated process that's triggered to get them warmed up. So the process serves two purposes. You'll notice that it's an educational process. It provides some interesting and valuable content that will hopefully make them more open to seeing the need for having a software application to assist them with their operating processes. So you'll notice that we send out a video right here, and then we send out a book right here. But it also serves to remind them that their demo is coming up. When they set up their demo, it fills in a field for when their demo is so that the system automatically knows when to send this contact. So it prepares them for their demo and makes sure that they show up. When they actually show up for a demo, we do not do a hard push, a hard sales push. We make a very soft offer, and it's usually at the end of the demo. The prospect's always going to inquire about pricing, and so we just, we make a soft offer. The low-hanging fruit, usually just go for it then and there, but it's a very small percentage. Once the demo's over, we have an automated campaign to follow up a demo with some content that makes the buying decision easier. So the first thing we do, this is this 2-week period where we're trying to convert that 7%. Because if we don't get them in 2 weeks, they're going into long-term nurture. So we've got this great opportunity right now to convert these people. So the first thing we do is we resend the book because it's an excellent tool to use to get started, and it's more interesting to them. So you'll see right now delivers the ebook. This is an email that delivers our ebook on how to systemize your business. All of a sudden they can now see how to get started on the process, so they're interested in reading the book. We also, piggybacking right behind that, we send an email that says how to get started. A day later, we send out, there's no offer at all in this email. It's just a quick video, a quick story about how tricky it is to write processes, something that they can relate to. And then we go through a series of 3 tips of solving business problems. And then we eventually get back to giving them the offer on TouchStone. So this is a 2-week campaign that's been built to try to get that additional 7% or more to make a buying decision. Now it's time to convert the deal, right? And closing the sale isn't just an exchange of money. Closing the sale is about establishing a relationship or creating this relationship. It's about excellence in client fulfillment. It's about delivering on the promises that you made in the sales processes and more. It's about great communication. It's about establishing long-term loyal clients. So how do you ensure excellence in lead conversion? First of all, you want to make it really easy to convert the transaction. And by that, I mean, make it easy for them to pay for it. Simple, simple, simple. And you want to be able to consistently deliver your product or service quickly, efficiently, however they expect it. So there's a great term, maybe some of you don't like this term, but under promise and over deliver. Documented processes to make the experience consistent and seamless. And if you have these documented processes, you can use them to train your staff really well so that everyone in your organization looks like a pro and you have a consistent experience for the consumer. The final phase in lifecycle marketing, it's called wow. The problem today is competition is pretty intense. It means that you have to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And if you can't differentiate yourself based on price, you have to differentiate yourself based on value. So the best way to do this is by delivering a consistent wow experience to your clients every time you interact with them. Wow breaks down into deliver and wow, offer more, and get referrals. You deliver with wow. Go above and beyond what you promised to earn your customers' loyalty. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. You can do small things, personal things like sending a lottery ticket or a Starbucks gift card. You can send a handwritten thank you note. You don't even have to write the handwritten thank you note. There are fulfillment centers that you can get to do this for like $1 a card. We had a client who was a car dealer, and what we had them do is with their new buyer sitting in the car, they took a picture of them with the windows down or the roof down, sitting in the sports car, and they put that on a send out cards and sent it as a thank you card. We had a real estate agent as a client who every time she sold a house, before the new tenants moved in, she would come to that little community, that little pocket, that little neighborhood, and she would organize a welcoming party. And she would bring flowers and brownies, and she would be there. And the look of the people who got the invitation, these brand new homeowners that come into this party, they're completely blown away. So these are great, great processes. One last story. My son, when he was 12 years old, he got braces put on his teeth. And a couple of days later, I'm at the dining room table and the phone rings and I'm going, who's calling me at this hour? So I go and I pick it up and a male adult voice says, is Maxwell there, please? And I go, well, yes, but who's calling, please? And he said, well, it's Dr. Mansfield. And I'm calling, I'm his orthodontist. I put braces on him 2 days ago. And sometimes after 1 or 2 days, the teeth, they ache a little bit. I just want to make sure he's okay. Just check in with him and let him know that it's all part of the process and he's going to be okay. I was completely blown away by this. I've referenced Dr. Mansfield, referred him on to every one of my friends' kids as they get older. I mean, this was incredible to me. Little things can make a huge difference. Okay, so now that you deliver wow, what does it mean offer more? Well, there are really two things of offering more. The first is you can deliver more than you offered. In our case, for example, we offer an orientation meeting. During the sales process, we talk about a free meeting to get you orientated with the software. But our process engineers are instructed to schedule a second meeting. And for those of you on the call, you probably had that experience with Shannon Brody. She probably a week or two later, you had a second meeting with her to check in with how you're doing, to offer advice, additional advice, and look and see how you're doing, answer any questions. The second consideration in offer more is to offer additional paid services or products. So to determine what to offer and when to offer it involves a bit of strategy. Stephen Covey writes about the emotional bank account, and he says that this emotional bank account, it starts with nothing, and then it fluctuates based on deposits and withdrawals. When more emotional deposits are made into your contacts' emotional bank accounts, they build trust, they build confidence, they build stronger relationships with you. So the easiest way to make these to make these emotional deposits is to determine what can you give these target customers, what solutions. It doesn't have to be a specific product or service. Sometimes it's something like this. It's content related. It can be specific tips or resources that are related to specific issues that they're having. But the key to a strong relationship is it resides in your ability to make more deposits than withdrawals. And that's a Stephen Covey key point. So after you've made a few deposits, you'll want to make a withdrawal. You know, there are a few things that you can do. You can cross-sell, upsell. You can offer new products. What we do, we have a couple of service offerings. One is called the Quick Start program, and we have an upsell campaign. We offer our TouchStone Quick Start program at a 50% discount if the new client purchases the program during the first 30 days of their subscription. And the Quick Start program achieves 3 extraordinary objectives. First of all, we identify and organize all of their processes. We create and build their org chart, and we develop job descriptions for every position on their org chart. Essentially, in less than 10 hours, we create their complete systemic infrastructure, something that they've been trying to do for years. We do it in less than 10 hours. Now, we offer a 50% discount, and I'm maybe letting the cat out of the bag here, because it makes our application so much stickier. People keep their application longer and longer and longer. So you'll see what we do up here. When someone buys our application, 15 minutes after they buy, we send out an email, and we use a really cool strategy that I heard about from a guy named Ryan Deiss. Ryan Deiss is a very popular internet marketer, and he has a strategy called Gain, Logic, Fear. 3 email topics. So these 3 topics, the context is gain, logic, fear. So the first thing we do is we send out this email that basically tells them, this is what you're going to get. You've been trying to do this for all these years, and now we're going to be able to do it with you in 10 or less hours. If they don't bite, if they don't purchase this, we send another email a day later, which is logic. Hey, you know, I know you're interested in systemizing, but how come you haven't taken us up in this offer? This is like an incredible offer. And then the fear, it's not really fear in this case. If you read some of Ryan's templates, they're quite fear-based, but ours isn't fear. It's just basically, okay, you know, you haven't taken us up on the offer yet. This is the last time I'm going to remind you that it's out there, and I will tell you that we don't discount it after 30 days. In terms of delivering more than what we offered for our entrepreneurs or business owners, we do live trainings every week. We showcase pre-written systems from our systems library that they can download and put to use in their own companies. We make all of our previously recorded trainings available to them. We have this really great referral campaign that requests referrals. For alliances, these are the consultants who are delivering TouchStone. We have a whole separate series of trainings to teach them how to use the TouchStone application with their clients. We give them a free portal called TouchStone Manager so that they can create and disable their clients' accounts, and they can actually see how often their clients are using their TouchStone accounts. We offer support and orientation for their clients, and we have this incredible launch campaign. It's a live webinar on how to systemize your business, and we've done everything. All they need to do is have some ability to send out a series of emails. We've even written the emails for them. Okay, last but not least is in the wow is to get referrals. Why people don't ask is beyond me. You'll spend less money marketing to existing customers than trying to attract new ones. It's incredibly important to wow these people from the start, anticipate their needs, deliver more than what you promised, and then start getting referrals from them. Referrals are one of the least expensive ways to expand your business, and wowing your current customer is the fastest way to earn these referrals. Asking and rewarding customers for a referral, it completes the wow experience. An effective referral campaign, it's just a great opportunity, and it can have rewards that are easy to obtain. You can provide gift cards, discounts, movie tickets when someone gives you a referral. We don't actually bother with that. We do our best to deliver such an incredible experience that people want to refer us. So you'll notice here that after 3 weeks, you'll notice it's within the free trial time, we send out a satisfaction survey. Very simple form. If you clicked on this, it would open up a survey, and it gives them just a very simple button. Would you refer us? Was this beyond what you expected, etc.? Depending on what they say depends on what we do. If they give us a really good response, we immediately send them to a referral form, and they fill it in, and then we follow up with them. If we get a negative response, it triggers a task for me to call them and go, hey, what's up? What happened? What happened? Okay, so we've talked about a lot of things today. Creating a sales and marketing strategy for your small business, it can be really daunting. And Infusionsoft's lifecycle marketing model provides a simple framework that you can use to attract customers, grow sales, deliver this wowing customer experience. It can be applied to any of the businesses on this call. And if you can put it into action, it will really help you grow your company. As an example for us, again, we're a very lean organization. We rely on the automation of Infusionsoft to make all these stages and phases work together. In fact, we were actually able to replace a full-time position salary by implementing Infusionsoft. So we went from close to a $4,000 per month for that employee's salary to $300 a month for Infusionsoft. So it's just been an incredible testimonial for us. I shared a lot today. You don't need to do everything that I talked about. In fact, you shouldn't. There's so much stuff I talked about today, and I could go deeper on every one of these topics. But what I would suggest that you do is pick one thing and implement it, and then just track the results and be inspired. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you coming, and I'm glad you hung in there for all of this content. Have a glorious day, and please be sure to follow up with me if there's anything I can help you with. Talk to you soon.